Hello, everyone. Today is Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022. EU wants more cooperation with Rwanda. And as I said in regard to an article about Mozambique that involved Rwanda and France, that this article is going to, in my opinion, expose some of the sellouts in Africa. And this is just my opinion. I could be wrong, but this is my opinion, and it's been my opinion for a while. I didn't have this opinion of the Mozambican president. Um, I gave him the benefit of doubt uh, that he, you know, he would do the right thing. I didn't accuse him or have any misgivings about him. I just wanted to see how things were going. The way I saw it was he was trying to bring security to his country, Mozambique, and he did it. But now things are coming out about him that are unsavory. One is the Mozambican government is missing $2 billion, and it happened around the transition time when he was Minister of Defense, just before he became president, and the previous president was in office. So now everybody is accusing the previous president, and the previous president is accusing Nyusi of being in charge of the situation and being on the take or taking bribes or what have you. So you have that, and now you have him collaborating with the French, and you have this is the Mozambican president, and collaborating with the Rwandan president, who I've always thought was a sellout because he's taken pictures with Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, etc. Been trained in intelligence in the United States, so he has links to the West, really close links to the West, and so a little bit more is going to come out about him here. The European Union wants to increase cooperation with Rwanda in the areas of security and defense. Military training mission in Mozambique also promises to verify respect for human rights on the ground. The European Union intends to intensify cooperation with Rwanda, in particular in the areas of security and defense, said an EU spokesperson in response to LUSA. Asked whether this does not contradict EU criticism of restrictions of freedom in the country, that is Rwanda, under the leadership of President Paul Kagame, the same source says that it is time to recognize the work of stabilization. So they're saying that they'll overlook some human rights abuses by Paul Kagame in the interest of stability in the region. The EU recognizes Rwanda's considerable efforts to help stabilize the security situation in Mozambique and the Central African Republic, and seeks effective operational and information exchange with the Rwandan armed forces deployed in the country. He said, for now, what is underway is a European Union training mission, EUTM, to prepare Mozambican troops to fight in Cabo Delgado, with no direct link between the EU and troops from other countries on the ground, in this case Rwanda and the Southern African Development Community. In other words, to train the Mozambican forces to handle their insurgency alone. At the end of January, the EUTM official admitted to supporting Rwanda. Vice Admiral Hervé Blejean said that Rwanda requested greater financial support and that the head of European diplomacy was quite determined to respond favorably. So Rwanda relies on the West for aid. The rapprochement between Maputo and Kigali, that is Mozambique and Rwanda, has been questioned by the Rwandan refugee community in Mozambique, established for years, and which in 2021 was the target of 4 incidents, including the murder of Revocat Karimangingo, a businessman opposed to Paul Kagame. So this was a gentleman who's Rwandan, but he's a refugee, or was before he was assassinated in Mozambique. In September last year, just a few months ago, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, called for a swift and thorough investigation to bring the killers of Karamangingo to account, but to date there have been no developments. No surprise to me. Currently, the EU does not finance any foreign military forces on the ground, said the same official spokesman today. The High Representative has the right to propose to the European Council a support package on military matters to a potential beneficiary, he noticed. So far, no decision has been taken in this regard with regard to Mozambique, he concluded. Mozambican President Felipe Nyusi appealed a week ago in Brussels to the need to finance foreign military forces in the fight against insurgents in Cabo Delgado. So you have the Mozambican president as well as the Rwandan president begging the EU for money for their insurgencies, or in the case of Mozambique, their insurgency. In the case of Rwanda, for security matters. So they're tied to the West. After Mali kicked French troops out of his country. Okay. Combat involves high costs for our partners. They will not continue for long for life, and operations could be affected if there is no support, he said. And just to emphasize, some people believe that Paul Kagame, if you didn't catch that in that article, is behind the assassination of his rival, who used to be in the Rwandan military. I can't remember all the details, but he was in the Rwandan military. I think it was before Paul Kagame took over power, etc. And then, so I guess when Kagame took over, he fled to Mozambique. I don't know exactly when. And he was an opponent of Kagame, and now he's dead. So a lot of people believe that Paul Kagame was behind his assassination. And that's what this article is getting at, that because of these accusations about Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, the West, the EU in this case, supposedly doesn't want to get involved in his political affairs because the West doesn't involve itself in unsavory situations, geopolitical situations, does it?